Howdy-doodle-doo. Well, that's a really, really weird thing to say, isn't it? Howdy-doodle-doo. Did anyone ever say howdy-doodle-doo? Well, I mean, apart from me just then. Howdy-doodle-doo. No, I don't think so. Anyway, well, reputation ruined. Who cares? So anyway, this is Ask Martin Monday's questions recycled in a totally environmentally friendly way to create property clinic. Yeah. If you like this, that'd be good. Remember, it's not a lifelong commitment. Subscribe. That's more of a commitment, but I'll love you forever for it. And of course, it is Ask Martin Monday. Hashtag Ask Martin Monday. It is on Twitter at TV Martin Roberts. That's moi. No, drama. Notice something different? Haircut. After many months in lockdown, I've had my haircut. Yeah, trip to the barber for the first... Barber, to a salon stylist, darling. Yes, absolutely. Anyway, so we went to the salon stylist, and yeah, it was like... as he hacked through the undergrowth, and he took it a little bit too much. I don't like it. His first big cut. I don't like having my haircut. I'll be honest, I don't like having my haircut. I think it looks better long. But you've got to have it cut, haven't you, to make it short, so that it can grow too long, because it gets too long. It's like... look like the Neanderthal man thing, which is how it's getting. But I used to get really upset when my mum used to go and have her haircut. I don't know why. It's because like she came back and she looked different, and I used to go, where's my mummy gone? She's like, yeah. So I think I just have a general trauma with hairdressers. Don't like it. I've got a great hairdresser. He's wonderful. But yeah, I don't like going really. But anyway, I definitely need to trim. So anyway, this is a newly trimmed Martin. Hello. Yeah. Doesn't make my ability to answer any questions any better. I'm not like, who is that character in the Bible? Was it Samson who had his haircut? And so yeah, the whole story of Samson, having his haircut and losing all his powers. I think something went in there. I was like, having a haircut and you get like a ruined. But anyway, don't like having haircuts. Anyway, should we have some questions? First question, R. Philip. Hello, R. Philip. Have you ever had a Staffordshire oatcake? I think you might have thought this was a trick question, but I'll have you know, R. Philip, that I absolutely have. Staffordshire oatcakes, for those of you who don't know, here's a picture. Looks a little bit like a pancake, but it's actually a sort of slightly different consistency. I'm sure that an expert would say what the difference is. They are very popular in Staffordshire, no kidding. And I think we were filming in Stoke-on-Trent, one of the places around Stoke-on-Trent. We were filming next to a shop that's all it sold was Staffordshire oatcakes. That was it. It was a Staffordshire oatcake shop. And they made them freshly every morning, and they sold them at lunchtime. And they used to use it like a wrap, and you kind of put things on it or in it. And they baked their fresh oatcakes, and they sent them out to loads of places, and they had them all in this shop. And they all went in lunchtime, whoosh, the whole lot, because it was probably one of the best places in Staffordshire for Staffordshire oatcakes. So I did, and they're fantastic. And it's lovely that there's regional cuisine still. I absolutely love that. In places you go, where the only place you're ever going to get that. Like, my career started because of black pudding at Burnley Market. Berry. And it was Chadwick's original black pudding stall at Bury Market, where I was following a group of people from London, and they all went round. They all came up on a bus from London to see what the north was like, honestly. This is like 35 years ago, so bear with us, all right? Yeah, they were all like, oh my gosh, look at these black pudding stalls, they're so cute. And all the people, I think they expected the people in the north to be wearing clogs or something. It was like, and it was brilliant stuff. It was a great report. It got me into Radio 4, to be fair. So I have a fond place in my heart for black pudding. So regional cuisine, bring it on. Next question. Cloffy Pig, is that right? Cloffy Pig? Hi. Or squeak. When you go and do filming for Homes in the Hammock, how much of what you say is spontaneous and how much of it is researched by your team? Does it look like it's been researched? No, look, it's all spontaneous. It's all off the top of my head. I know a bit about property, I think. So I just bring out what I know and I apply it to what I see. Nothing is written by anybody else. It's all my gobbledygook. You can't blame it on anybody else. It's me. But the fact it's all spontaneous, it makes the show, I think, a little bit more spontaneous. So I just, do what I see and say as I see. So no, what you see is completely my words, nobody else to blame. Oh yeah, Ian, hello Ian. Where will your first post-lockdown caravan trip take you? Well, we were planning to go down to Wareham Forest, but there's the most beautiful campsite, a Wareham Forest Tourist Park. If you get a chance to go there, it's amazing. But I think we're going to put it on hold because currently a lot of campsites, they're open, but a lot of the facilities aren't. So you can't use the swimming pool, which is rubbish for the kids. The shop's not really properly operating in lots of places. Often the toilet blocks are out of bounds and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm not quite sure that's the experience I want. And I've had so many happy holidays camping. I don't want to have one that ruins it. So I'm probably going to take a bit of a break from the camping holidays until things are a little bit more open. Miss your Practical Caravan column. I know I used to write a practical column for Practical Caravan every month. I used to love it, but they decided to shuffle things around a bit and stop doing it. Such is the way of the media, and maybe they'll have me back someday. Oh, this is nice. T New York York. Not a question, just to say that I loved it when you did Radio 2. We were on the way to the lakes and you really made the journey for us. Oh, well, in case you don't know, I actually did Jeremy Vine's show on Easter, Bank Holiday Monday, and also on New Year's Eve, I think. And I've done it 2 or 3 times. I absolutely love it. I would love to do more Radio 2, but it's harder to get onto Radio 2 than to Fort Blooming Knox. Honestly, if you know people, can you just have a word? Because it's like, I do my best, people seem to love it, and I still don't get, asked regularly back. Honestly, it's like you could rip your hair out. I like shortened hair. Trust me, folks, getting into the media sometimes is an absolute, it's really difficult. It's like the children's books things. Oh, let's not go there. Ugh, you try and get into publishing children's books. Wow! That's why I ended up doing it myself. But yeah, the people at Radio 2 were really lovely, and I loved doing it. People loved it, and there's whatever the powers that be, there was like a different plan. It's like, Anyway, la-di-da. Hopefully I will be back. Enough people write and complain and say, we liked Martin, please bring him back. Then they will actually listen to that. So please, if you get the chance to do that, it would mean a lot, and you don't really realise how much your word is listened to. It certainly is. Oh, here we go. Yes, Captain Correntino. Good morning, Martin. I believe the Chancellor is proposing a temporary removal of stamp duty for the first-time buyers of lower-priced properties. Do you agree with stamp duty and the amounts charged? But of course, now we know that the stamp duty was in fact reduced for any purchases below £500,000, unless it's a second-time purchase or one of many properties, in which case you have to pay 3% on top of whatever the stamp duty level is. Stamp duty everyone hates, right? It raises, I'm sure, very important funds for the government, but the fact that it's been reduced, I think it's a really good sort of fillip for the property market. Hopefully things will be absolutely fine, but anything we can do to make sure that it doesn't get rocky is great. And I think the stimulus of not having to pay that stamp duty, especially at the lower levels, really helping the people who are trying to get on the market there, is a great thing. So thank you, Rishi, for that. Much appreciated. Anthony says, do you think house prices are going to drop, and how long do you think this 15% deposit will last? I'm not sure what he means by the 15% deposit, but house prices are going to drop. Well, I think there's lots of things in place to say they probably won't. House prices don't like uncertainty. The property market doesn't like uncertainty. So, if things continue to be a little bit uncertain, that's not particularly good, but that's balanced against a demand. It's balanced against stamp duty reduction. It's balanced against the fact that people need places to live. So, they might drop temporarily, but you've got to view properties as a medium to long-term investment. So on that basis, I think, go for it. Don't try and second guess the future. Just, if you can do it now and it makes sense, then do it. If you had money to invest, says Renato Rossi, what would you do in this current climate? Build a house, flip a property, or buy to let mortgage and rent the property? Well, you know what, Renato? I would try and do all three. A balance of what your investment strategies is makes a lot of sense. Building a house, finding a plot of land that you can get planning permission on is a really good way to build up money in a plot of land. If you manage to get planning permission on it, that's a bit of a pot of gold, isn't it? If you can buy the property and buy the land and then get planning permission for a house on it, that's really good. If you build a house, generally you'll save about a third of the total cost of what it would have cost to buy a similar house, so that's a good thing to do. Flip a property, that's where you buy a house, you do it and you sell it on. Well, there's a strategy there. In this current climate, you might be able to get hold of some bargains and you do the work on them and then sell them on. That's good. And I'm a great believer in holding on to properties longer term. So, buying, getting a mortgage. Hopefully the mortgage market will come back a little bit more, positively, with more products coming on board before very long. Rent the property out. If the yield's good, the amount of money you're getting in, then why the heck not? So yeah, Jonathan Belcher, which is a great name, given the question I'm about to ask. Have you ever had a pint in Stourport? Well, no, I don't think I have. Why? Is there a particularly good pub there? Just tell me. Stourport have a good pub? Well, tell me, and I will be there the next time I'm passing through. Okay, here's a good one. Willy-nilly. Great question. Martin, when it comes to tough movie cops that refuse to play by the rules, do you prefer Harry Callahan or John McClane? Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, this is Harry Callahan. He is Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood, from movies like Dirty Harry and Dirty Harry 2 and Dirty Harry 3. I can't remember what they're called, whatever. On the other hand, this is John McClane. And of course, he is Bruce Willis from Die Hard. So, really difficult to try and, decide between those two. But I would have to go with Clint Eastwood, only because for a large portion of my growing up, I used to say the words, "This here's Colt 45, the most powerful handgun in the world. It contains 6 rounds and I can't remember how many I've shot. You gotta ask yourself one question, punk. Are you feeling lucky?" And that got shortened to, are you feeling lucky, punk? And, and all sorts of stuff. He was bad thingy. Yeah, oof, wow. Yeah, so I'd probably run with Harry Callahan. But, you know, John McClane character, I mean, you know, Clint Eastwood's fantastic. And so is Bruce Willis in those films. And they went on, didn't they? And longevity, I don't know how long the Dirty Harry movies lasted for. But certainly the Die Hard movies went on and on and on. The first one was great and the last one was great. And I don't think Bruce Willis really looked like he'd aged too much in between the beginning and the end. So, yeah, we love them both. Great question. Love that one. This is lovely. Hello, I am Matthew. Hello, you are Matthew. If you had to go into witness protection, which of the following names would you choose? Alistair Yams, Sir Chips Queef, Alabaster Shite, Mr. Chapati, or Boots McSaucy? Very good. So witness protection, that's where you go to court and say things which bad people don't want you to say, and therefore you have to go and hide. So you've got to come up with some name. I'm not sure, actually. I would probably come up with my own name. I think I'd be the Reverend Quentin Farquharson. No, Farquharson. That's very good. I'll spell it. Quentin Peabody. Yeah, the Reverend Quentin Peabody with a mysterious past and a Reverend, oh yes, of the church. But nobody quite knows where he's come from or where he was ordained. And there is something slightly sinister about him. No, troubled. That's it, troubled. Yes, a troubled past. An unknown past where his heart was broken by a damsel who he fell in love with when training to be a vicar and therefore had to decide at some point between the church, God and the girl, and he chose God and the church, and then surprisingly the girl had an accident and was crippled, and she needed somebody to look after her, and he had to make a decision. I've got a good story that line going on here. So that's my backstory. Next question. Biscuit man. Here's a doozy. What's your favourite biscuit? What is my favourite biscuit? What? Well, now, before we start this question, what do we mean by biscuit? So, you see, I'd like to throw Jaffa Cake into the mix, but is Jaffa Cake a biscuit? Didn't they have this kind of like legal thing going on at some point where the Vitties were arguing that Jaffa Cake wasn't a biscuit, it was a cake, because it's called Jaffa Cake. Or maybe they were arguing it was a biscuit. They were trying to avoid paying VAT or something to do with VAT payable or income, I don't know, something to do with tax. And then they successfully argued, I think, that Jaffa Cake was a biscuit, or the other way around. Not much of a good story if you can't know what the answer is it? Anyway. So can I include Jaffa Cakes? It's not really, I don't know. Yeah, you see, well, because the point is, if I'm saying Jaffa Cakes, well, why don't I say things like, what are those things, Battenbergs, and also, but they're not really biscuits. Biscuits, I think, let's say a biscuit is a crispy thing, right? Is that fair? Biscuits are always crispy, are they generally? I mean, hobnob, well, not really crispy, but it's definitely a biscuit. Everyone will say a hobnob's a biscuit, right? Chocolate hobnob. What about a Kit Kat? That's where I'm struggling. How's that fit? Is a Kit Kat a biscuit? Is it? It's got a biscuity bit in it, but it's chocolate. So, see, I love Kit Kats. And I'd say that's my favourite biscuit, but I don't know if that's a biscuit. I like shortbread. Can't argue with that one, right? Shortbread, that's a biscuit. Bread. Oh, cool, that's a bread. Oh, no. No, shortbread's a biscuit, right? Well, it have to be. Anyway, no. When you used to be able to travel by train, they used to serve these packets of these biscuits. And there was one which was like butter. Oh, fruit Shrewsbury. Awesome. Never had a fruit Shrewsbury. Go for it. And there was one butterscotch. Same maker biscuit. Butterscotch. Oh, my gosh. Amazing. So, yeah. And do you remember those milk biscuits which had like a picture of a cow on them and like some dots all around them? We might be able to find a picture. Oh yeah. Like the dots around the edge of the biscuit and the cow in the middle. And they remind me of school. Oh, jammy dodgers. Nah. Interesting enough, we had this exact same conversation when I was in the jungle. We talked for hours about jammy dodgers and all sorts of things. Can't beat a jammy dodger. Absolutely not. Moving on. Wendy Clark. Hello, Wendy. Glad you got you. And well done to everybody, by the way, who won a copy of my property auction guide. I got 2 books, by the way, Making Money from Property and the Property Auction Guide. And we had a competition where we were promoting the fact that I've done my release of my Basil Brush reading Sadsville book. And to promote that, I think we were offering people a chance to win a copy of How to Buy a Property Auction Guide. And I think people think they don't win these competitions, but we're real. When we do it, we mean it. Okay, so if I give you a competition, all right, and we mean it, and 10 people won, and Wendy was one of them, so she sent me a picture of the book which arrived safe, so that's great, Wendy. You answered the question last week about who would I invite to a dinner party, but what would be on the menu? Well, okay, so things I really love. Freshly made Stilton, broccoli and Stilton soup as a starter. With croutons. Oh, here's the thing, right. So the local co-op have started doing sourdough bread. You've ever had sourdough bread? Oh my gosh, it's delicious. If you haven't, it's fantastic. So they do sourdough bread, and you can't eat a whole loaf, and the following day it's just not as good. So I saved the bits of sourdough, and then I chop them up into little bits, and I put them in the oven with a bit of olive oil over the top of them. And it makes the most amazing croutons. Oh my gosh, if you like croutons, go buy some sourdough bread, leave it for ages, stick it in the oven, stick some olive oil on it, salt and pepper, Bob's your jolly well, Robert's your father's brother. Unbelievable. Delicious. Yum, yum, yum. So that would be the starter. The main course, I have a signature dish, which is salmon en croûte. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it's fresh salmon, 2 pieces of fresh salmon with a layer of salmon mousse in the middle, and then wrapped in filo pastry. And you serve it, and it's big, it's massive, and it's really, really spectacular with new potatoes and mascarpone sauce. It's delish. Yum, yum, yum. And for dessert, I would do something. I had some brandy snacks the other day. Yum, yum, yum. Brandy snacks, and for ages. So I do like meringues with fresh cream. I like baked Alaska, flaming baked Alaska. The other time, remind me to tell you my Vietnamese cookery disaster. Okay, there isn't time today, but another time, a Vietnamese cookery disaster. Oh my gosh, it's a classic. Yeah, I'll save that for another time. So that's it, Wendy. So that's it. You're invited to the next one, all right? Dinner party, that is. Paul James McCluskey. Where'd you get all your terrible puns from? Well, my mum was just like a completely puntastic person. She did all the crosswords. She knew all the how to work with words and all sorts of stuff. And I think I picked it up from her. So, I don't know. It's just sort of in there in the brain. And I'm glad I don't know how terrible is a particularly complimentary thing, but I'm glad you sort of enjoyed them in a cringeworthy kind of way. Gary McDonald says, have you ever gone into a state of hysteria when interviewing people who paid over 50% over the asking price? Well, I do raise an eyebrow, but sometimes the guide prices are unrealistically set. So, I don't particularly have a massive go at them. If I think they've paid too much, it depends why they bought it. At the end of the day, it's their house. If they're happy with what they've paid, who am I to question that? So I can't really get too cross with them. Michael Ord, hello Michael. Although you don't return to interview people once a property has been completed, have you ever seen a renovation that impressed you so much that you went to see it in your own time? Well, I think they probably had enough of us by the time we've had a film crew around for a day. And sometimes I drive past properties and see what they've done, but I don't generally go back and pester people further. But it is always fascinating to see the amazing things that they did. Just a few more questions. Gary Brown says, what was your favourite highlight from the time you were in the jungle? Well, you know what, there's so many. Just the camaraderie, the time when they wanted me to be on there, but the boys and the girls both wanted me to be in their gang. That was amazing. But I think probably one of the best nights for all of us was the night at the Jungle Tavern, when for the first time in how many weeks it is, you get some reasonable food, you had music, a bit of a dance, and I think there might have been something to drink as well. So yeah, the Jungle Tavern was awesome, and I think we did some silly show as well. There was another bit where we were the kings and the queens, and we were in that separate camp, and the others from the other camp came to do as a show. You saw a bit of that show on TV, but we saw it all, and it was very funny. All of them were absolutely hysterical. So emotionally, probably when they all wanted me to be on their gang, because that was really, really meant a lot. I don't know if when I was at school, you used to have this thing where somebody would be like picking teams for a football team or whatever, and it would be like taking in turns, and then doing it, and I was always last. It was like I was really rubbish at sports. Yeah, and it was like, oh, I'm last again. Nobody wants Martin. So when they both wanted me to be on their team, it meant such a lot. It was really sweet. So that's probably a highlight. Okay, so and great stuff. They afterwards they send you the DVD box set of your time in the jungle, and so you can go through it. And there's still bits of it I haven't seen. It's all a bit too emotional, but like the letter reading and I don't know. But yeah, no, such fond memories. I can't believe it's as many years ago as it is now. I think it's approaching 4 years. Ugh. Final question is from Peter Babin. Hello, Peter. Hi, Martin. I'm after a quick sale, hopefully this month. What can I do to shift it quicker, apart from keep it decluttered? I've had no viewings. Spoke to the agent and they say it's not overpriced. I'm desperate to move 200 miles away. Please help. Well, you've got to just remember what it was that made you love that property in the first place, okay? And then amplify those factors. So if you love the garden, then just make the garden clean and tidy and mow the grass and open the doors to it and all that kind of stuff. And when people come round, be enthusiastic. Say, oh, this is a great house to live in. I don't really want to move, but I've got to move. Clearly, you've got to get them there. So again, make sure the estate agent is doing a good job of describing the property right. One thing I suggest to people as well is try and depersonalise the house, not just declutter it, depersonalise it. So take down pictures and family portraits and all that kind of stuff. Make it just something that people could see as their own place. And then why don't you create a little pack like you get when you go to a hotel, and there's details of local attractions and tourist things and local walks and schools, and maybe put an Ofsted report from the local schools in, just to create a picture like a tourism pack on the property that you're trying to sell. Because at the end of the day, you just got to convince somebody that there is going to be a place for them to have a nice life, and that's not just about the price, as you quite rightly say. So yeah, there's a couple of ideas, and don't give up and don't lose the faith. So that's it. I hope you like this. Do like the video, do subscribe to the channel, and do send your questions in on a Monday to hashtag AskMartyMonday on Twitter, which is @TV Martin Roberts, and I'll be back with more of this stuff next time.